Cadet Martinez, your weapon does not exist. Weapon Master Kael'thas stood at the center of the Galactic Combat Academy's grand arena, his scanner array hovering around Olivia Martinez like confused insects. Behind him, 847 cadets from 43 species watched in perfect silence. The twice-yearly weapon inspection had never stopped before. "I mean, it clearly does exist," Olivia said, holding up the blade. "I'm literally holding it right now." Kael'thas's facial tendrils twitched, the Valkyrie equivalent of a nervous breakdown. All regulation cadet weapons register plasma signatures, energy matrices, power cell configurations. Your weapon registers as... He consulted his scanner again, as if hoping the readings would change. "Organic matter, dense calcium composite. This is impossible." According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. "It's bone." Olivia turned the blade over, watching the arena lights play across the surface. "Carved it from a Krigstar predator during survival training last month. That thing tried to eat me, so I figured turnabout was fair play." The silence in the arena developed weight. "You fashioned a weapon," Kael'thas said slowly, "from the skeletal structure of one of the most dangerous predators in the sector." "Well, yeah. What was I supposed to do? Just die?" Combat Master Vexthul descended from the observation platform, his exo-armor hissing with each step. "Weapon Master, what is the security concern here? The cadet has a blade. We all have blades." "Test it," Kael'thas said. "Activate your shield and test it." Vexthul's expression suggested this was beneath him, but he triggered his personal energy shield, the same military-grade protection that had stopped plasma fire in 17 major conflicts. The barrier shimmered into existence, a sphere of force that had never been penetrated by any handheld weapon. "Okay, so," Olivia looked between them, "do you want me to just strike the shield, cadet?" Olivia shrugged and swung the bone blade in a casual arc. It passed through the energy barrier like the shield wasn't there. The flat of the blade tapped Vexthul's chest plate with a dull thunk. Every scanner in the arena shrieked simultaneously. "Emergency Protocol 17, the Academy's AI announced. "Shield penetration detected. Isolating threat. Contacting senior command." "Oh, come on," Olivia said. "I barely touched him." Vexthul stood frozen, staring down at his chest where the impossible had just occurred. His shield was still active, still maintaining full power. It simply hadn't stopped the weapon. "That's 10,000 years of shield technology just ignored." "Cadet Martinez," Kael'thas's voice had gone very quiet. "How many of these weapons have you created?" "Just this one, and a backup knife, and I was working on a Senior Combat Instructors to Arena 1, Fleet Admiral notification sent." Olivia looked at the blade in her hand. "Is this really that big a deal? It's just sharpened bone." Kael'thas's tendrils had gone, completely rigid. "Cadet, you're holding a weapon that violates every principle of modern warfare." "Yes. This is really that big a deal." The arena had transformed into a crisis command center within minutes. Senior instructors Jotaro and Zara materialized via emergency transport, their formal combat regalia suggesting they'd been pulled from something important. The Academy's top weapons engineers clustered around scanning equipment that grew more elaborate by the second. "Run it again," Zara commanded. Olivia sighed and struck the test shield for the 7th time. The blade passed through as easily as the first 6 attempts. "Energy dispersal rate, 0, an engineer reported. Molecular disruption, 0. The shield isn't failing. The weapon is simply not interacting with the energy matrix." "How?" Jotaro's 3 eyes focused on the bone blade with an intensity that made Olivia uncomfortable. "Energy shields operate on fundamental physics. They stop matter, all matter." "Maybe not organic matter," Olivia offered. "They especially stop organic matter. That's the primary design specification." Zara grabbed a plasma blade from a nearby cadet. Observe. Standard issue, plasma forged, molecularly aligned. She struck the test shield. The blade bounced off with a shower of sparks. This is what happens to every weapon in the known galaxy. She thrust the plasma blade toward Olivia's bone weapon. Now defend. Olivia brought her blade up. The plasma edge struck the bone surface and slid away harmlessly, leaving not even a scorch mark. The weapons engineer's scanners hit a pitch that suggested mechanical screaming. That's... Jotaro's voice trailed off. Plasma cuts through hull plating. It's 6,000 degrees at the edge. Yeah, but bone's pretty dense, Olivia said. I mean, it held up that predator for its whole life, right? Those things live like 80 years. Vexthul had recovered enough to speak. The Krixtar are apex predators precisely because our weapons barely harm them. We use concentrated bombardment from distance. You're saying you carved one? I mean, it was already dead. Mostly. It had tried to eat me. I got lucky with a rock, and then I figured I should make something useful from it. She ran her thumb along the blade's edge. Took me 3 days to get the balance right. Balance? Zara looked like she wanted to shake Olivia. You achieved molecular-level precision through, what? Guessing? Not guessing, feeling. You carve a bit, test the swing, carve some more. It's like cooking. You adjust until it's right. Cooking. Jotaro's translator might have malfunctioned on that word. Senior combat instructor Rilia pushed through the crowd, her facial plates flushed with urgency. I've reviewed the cadet's survival training logs. She killed the Krixtar with a sharpened stone. A stone. She then spent 72 hours fashioning this weapon using... She consulted her datapad with visible disbelief. A sharp rock and patience. Oh, I also used some rough tree bark for sanding, Olivia added helpfully. Really brings out the smoothness. Get Admiral Zilax here now, Zara said, and tell him to bring the Galactic Military Council. This isn't an academy matter anymore. It's really just a knife, Olivia protested. Kael'thas turned to her, his tendrils quivering. Cadet Martinez, your just a knife has rendered obsolete every defensive technology developed in the last 10 millennia. The entire galactic military doctrine is based on energy shields stopping physical attacks. You've just proved that humans can bypass that protection using predator bones and patience. Olivia looked down at her blade. So, is this going to affect my grades? Fleet Admiral Zilax didn't bother with the standard transport protocols. His ship simply appeared in high orbit, and he materialized in the arena 11 minutes after the emergency call, still wearing his formal council vestments. Show me, he said, bypassing all greetings. Olivia had been sitting on the arena floor, using a piece of leather from her boot to polish the bone blade. She stood up, suddenly aware that a 4-star admiral with command over 6,000 warships was staring at her like she was a live explosive. Just strike the shield again, or combat demonstration, full intensity, champion protocols. Zilax gestured, and 3 alien warriors stepped forward, a Korveth battlemaster, a Zelnari blade dancer, and a Throgian heavy combat specialist. Each had won sector-wide tournaments. Each carried weapons that cost more than a small spacecraft. Olivia said. I'm just a cadet. These guys are... They're dead if your weapon works in actual combat like it does in testing, Zilax interrupted. Prove it, or this academy gets locked down for security breaches. The Korveth battlemaster activated his dual plasma blades and energy shield simultaneously. I will be gentle with the human admiral. Don't be, Olivia muttered, settling into a stance her grandfather had taught her when she was 7. The battlemaster lunged with professional precision, a testing strike meant to gauge her defense. Olivia wasn't there. She'd shifted sideways, and her bone blade traced a line across his shield generator. The shield flickered and died. What? How did you... She swept his legs. He went down hard. Cadet Martinez wins round 1, the arena AI announced, sounding confused by its own declaration. The Zelnari blade dancer approached more cautiously, her four arms creating a defensive pattern with her plasma edges. She studied Olivia's movements with predator focus. Olivia feinted left, ducked under a strike that should have been impossible to see coming, and tapped the blade dancer's chest plate. Tagged. "You moved before I struck," the dancer hissed. "How did you predict?" "Didn't predict. Saw your shoulders shift." Olivia backed away respectfully. "Your balance telegraphs where you're going." The Throggian heavy specialist decided subtlety was irrelevant. He charged like a armored transport, his massive shield projector creating a wall of force. Olivia sidestepped, stuck out her foot, and watched 200 kilos of champion warrior crash, face first into the arena floor. "That's just momentum," she explained to the stunned silence. "Basic physics. He couldn't turn at that speed." Zilax's face had gone through several colors. "You defeated 3 champions in under 2 minutes using a carved bone and movement?" "Well, yeah. What else would I use?" "Your shield, your defensive protocols, your—" He stopped. "You don't have a shield generator." "Nope. Too heavy. I just move out of the way." "You just move." Zara sounded like she was having a spiritual crisis. "Cadet, our entire combat doctrine is based on shield strength and weapon power. Movement it's what you do when shields fail." "Shields fail a lot though, right? So wouldn't it make sense to, not depend on them?" Jotaro pulled up a holographic display. "Human combat history. I've been researching while we waited for the Admiral." Images flickered past. Swords, spears, axes, all clearly organic materials. They used these for thousands of years. Before they developed energy weapons, they killed everything on their planet with sharpened metal and wood. "And bone," Olivia added. "Lots of bone weapons in the early days. We're really good at making things sharp." "You made weapons before you made tools," Rylia whispered, staring at her data pad. "You didn't develop technology and then weaponize it. You developed weapons and then everything else." "I mean, yeah, hard to invent agriculture when predators keep eating you." Olivia shrugged. "So we killed the predators first, with pointy sticks mostly." The Academy's combat AI suddenly spoke. "Alert. Current combat training protocols have 0 defensive strategies against shield-penetrating organic weapons combined with evasive movement patterns, requesting complete doctrine revision." Zilax sat down heavily on the arena steps. 10,000 years of warfare evolution, and a human with a bone knife just made it all obsolete. "It's a really good bone, though," Olivia said. "Crixtar calcium structure is amazing. I'm thinking of making a spearhead next." Every alien in the arena flinched simultaneously. The Galactic Council convened via emergency hologram within the hour. 17 species military representatives materialized around the arena, their expressions ranging from skeptical to openly alarmed. "Demonstrate," Council Prime Korvax commanded. For the next 40 minutes, Olivia went through every combat scenario they could devise. She cut through shields, deflected plasma fire with angled strikes, and consistently defeated simulation after simulation using what she kept calling just basic stuff. "How long did your species train you in these techniques?" a council member asked. "My grandpa taught me knife fighting when I was 8, said every person should know how to handle a blade safely." 8 cycles old, Zara translated. That's childhood." "You trained a child in lethal combat?" Korvax looked horrified. "I mean, he also taught me to ride a bike and bake cookies. It wasn't all stabbing." Olivia paused. "Mostly it was him yelling about keeping my fingers away from the edge and maintaining my grip." Admiral Zilax pulled up another display. "I've had my staff researching human combat systems. They have 47 documented melee combat traditions. 47 different ways to fight with handheld weapons." "We get bored easily," Olivia offered. "Plus, different weapons work better in different situations. Knife fighting isn't the same as sword fighting isn't the same as spear work." "And you know multiple systems?" I mean, basic proficiency in a few. I'm not an expert or anything. My cousin Sarah's way better. She competed in 3 different martial arts tournaments last year. Your cousin is more proficient than you? Jotaro sounded faint. Oh yeah, Sarah's scary. She won the regional Krav Maga championship and she's only 16. The council members exchanged looks that suggested their worldviews were actively crumbling. Cadet Martinez, Korvac said carefully, why do humans maintain these combat traditions when you have advanced energy weapons? Olivia blinked. Because technology fails? Like, energy cells die, equipment breaks, ships lose power. You need backup plans, multiple backup plans. We have backup systems. What if those fail? We have redundant backups. What if those fail? Then Korvac stopped. We would rely on shields and emergency protocols, which my knife goes through. Silence. You plan for technology failure at every level, Rylia said slowly. You assume systems will break. Well, yeah, Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, usually at the worst possible time. Olivia tested the edge of her blade with her thumb, a gesture that made several council members flinch. So we learn to fight without technology first, then add technology as enhancement, not replacement. Vexthul stepped forward. Admiral, request permission to integrate human close combat doctrine into academy training immediately. Granted, Zilak said. Council, I'm recommending emergency fleet-wide training protocols. Every vessel should carry organic weapon reserves, and every officer should receive basic melee combat instruction. I could teach a class, Olivia volunteered. I mean, if that helps, basic knife work isn't that complicated once you understand the principles. Kael'thas made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. She thinks it isn't that complicated? It really isn't, Olivia insisted. You just need to practice until the movements feel natural. A few hundred hours and you'd have the basics down. A few hundred hours, Zara repeated, to master what took our species millennia to avoid needing. Oh, I'm not a master. That takes like 10,000 hours. I've only put in maybe 2,000. Admiral Zilak stood. Cadet Martinez, effective immediately. You're promoted to combat instructor, Human Warfare Division. You'll be developing curriculum for the entire Galactic fleet. Cool. Does that come with better cafeteria access? Because the cadet food is really not great. 3 weeks later, the Galactic Combat Academy had been fundamentally reorganized. The new Organic Weapons Division occupied what had previously been a storage facility for outdated training equipment. Olivia had requisitioned the space after pointing out that her first class of 47 alien cadets couldn't effectively learn knife fighting in a zero-gravity combat simulator. No, she said for the 15th time that morning. Kael'thas, you're gripping it like you're trying to strangle it. The weapon is an extension of your arm, not a separate entity. The weapon master, now technically her student, adjusted his grip on the practice blade she'd carved for him. It was made from a less dangerous predator's bone, something she'd described as training wheels material. It feels unnatural, Kael'thas complained. There's no power cell to balance, no energy flow to sense. That's the point. You balance it with your actual body. She demonstrated, the blade moving through a simple form. Feel how the weight shifts. That tells you where the edge is, how much force you're applying, whether you're off-center. I cannot feel anything through my exogloves. Then take them off. But what if I cut myself? Olivia smiled the patient smile of someone who'd had this conversation 24 times already. Then you learn to be more careful. Pain is an excellent teacher. Zara, observing from the doorway, made a note on her datapad. Human teaching methodology. Accept injury as educational component. Cross-reference with human medical data showing elevated pain tolerance and rapid healing factors. Across the room, Vexthul was attempting to carve his own blade from a block of synthesized bone material. He'd been at it for 6 hours and had produced something that looked like it had been chewed by a malfunctioning fabricator. "Why?" he said through gritted mandibles. "Is this so difficult? I've programmed molecular assemblers to create weapons with nanometer precision." "Because you're thinking about it wrong," Olivia said, coming over to examine his work. "You're trying to impose a design. Instead, you need to find the blade that's already in there and let it out." "That's poetic nonsense." "Maybe, but it works." She took the carving tool, a sharpened piece of metal that would have been laughably primitive a month ago, and made 3 quick cuts. The rough shape suddenly looked more blade-like. "See, the grain of the material guides you. You work with it, not against it." "I have 17 advanced degrees in weapons engineering." "Cool, now forget all of them and just feel the material." Vexthul made a noise that his species used to express profound existential frustration. The door opened and Admiral Zilax entered, followed by a full command staff. The room immediately snapped to attention, except Olivia, who was elbow-deep in a container of predator bones she'd requisitioned from the xenobiology department. "As you were," Zilax said. "Instructor Martinez, status report." "Oh, hey, Admiral." Olivia pulled out a particularly promising femur. "We're making progress. Most of the students can hold a blade without dropping it now, which is a big improvement from week 1. Kael'thas almost completed a basic defensive form yesterday, and Vexthul's only cut himself twice today." 3 times, Vexthul muttered. "The last one was minor." "Fleet Command wants to know when we can begin rolling out the training to active duty personnel," Zilax said. Olivia considered. Realistically, for basic proficiency, meaning they won't stab themselves or their squad mates, I'd say 6 months minimum. For actual combat capability, you're looking at a year, maybe 18 months for species with non-standard physiology. One of the command staff, a Zelnari officer, spoke up. "That seems extensive for what you describe as basic skills. You're learning to move your body in ways you've never moved it before," Olivia explained. "Your species has relied on shields and ranged weapons for so long that close quarters instincts are basically gone. We're not just teaching techniques, we're rewiring reflexes." "The human is correct," Jotaro added from where he was practicing stance work. He'd taken to the training with disturbing enthusiasm and now spent 4 hours daily in the OWD. "I've been studying human evolutionary biology. They're ambush predators who became persistence hunters who became pack tacticians. Every stage required close combat capability. It's encoded in their neural architecture." "We're just stubborn and hard to kill," Olivia said. "Really, that's like 90% of human combat effectiveness." "She's being modest," Zara said. "I've analyzed the combat data. Human tactics involve acceptable loss rates that would be considered catastrophic by our standards, sustained through what they call grit and spite." "Those are very important tactical resources," Olivia said seriously. A junior officer raised a tentacle hesitantly. "Instructor Martinez, I've been assigned to requisition supplies for the fleet-wide program. How many organic weapons will we need?" "Oh, none initially. Everyone makes their own. That will take years, probably. But you can't really fight with a weapon you don't understand intimately. Making it teaches you its balance, its limits, its personality." "Weapons don't have personalities." Olivia held up her Krikstar bone blade. "This one's named Bitey. Because the predator bit me before I killed it, and it seems fitting." The entire command staff stared at her. "You named your weapon," Zilax said carefully. "Why?" "I don't know, felt right. My grandpa named all his knives, said it was good luck." Zara added another note to her extensive file labeled Human Cultural Combat Practices, Potentially Mystical Components. "How goes the advanced curriculum development?" Zilax asked, visibly deciding to move past the weapon naming issue. "Good! Next month I'm introducing spear work. Then we'll move to hand-to-hand combat fundamentals. Oh, and I've been researching Throgian skeletal structure. Their bone density is incredible. If we could source some ethically, they'd make amazing weapon material. Absolutely not, 3 voices said simultaneously. Just a thought, Olivia said. Anyway, I'm also developing a training manual, but it's slow going because, apparently, just try it until it feels right isn't considered adequate technical documentation. No, Kael'thas said flatly, it is not. Your species has been doing this for how long? Asked the Zelnari officer. Modern humans? About 300,000 years, give or take, but proto-humans were using sharp rocks for like 2 million years before that. The silence that followed had a quality of existential horror. Right, Zelax said eventually. Continue as you are, instructor. The council has authorized full funding for the program, whatever you need. Actually, the academy cafeteria finally got decent coffee, so I'm pretty happy. Oh, and maybe better lighting in here? Some of my students have trouble seeing the detail work. Better lighting, of course. Zelax turned to leave, then paused. Martinez, you do understand you've fundamentally altered galactic military doctrine in less than a month? I mean, I just showed you guys how knives work. You're the ones restructuring entire fleets around it. Because it works, distressingly well. Olivia grinned. Yeah, knives are pretty great. Wait until I teach you about spears. You can throw those. The command staff left, looking deeply unsettled. Kael'thas approached once they were gone. His practice blade held more confidently now. Instructor, I believe I'm beginning to understand the balance concept. Yeah? Show me. He moved through a basic form, and this time it looked almost natural. Nice. See, you're getting it. Few more 100 hours and you'll have muscle memory down. Only a few 100 more hours, Kael'thas said weakly. Yep, Olivia checked her schedule. Okay, everyone, that's it for today. Remember, 30 minutes daily practice minimum and don't carve toward yourself. Class dismissed. As the students filed out, Vexthul paused at her workbench. Instructor Martinez, may I ask a personal question? Sure. Does this... He gestured at the training room, the bones, the primitive weapons. Does this ever feel absurd to you? Teaching spacefaring civilizations to fight with carved bones? Olivia considered. Honestly, a little. But you know what's more absurd? Building an entire galactic civilization that forgot how to fight without technology. She picked up Bitey, examining the edge. My grandpa used to say the best tool is the one that works when everything else fails. These work. Your species is terrifying, you realize that? Nah, we're just practical and really, really hard to kill. She grabbed her coffee, finally decent coffee, and headed for the door. Come on, I promised Zara I'd help her plan the curriculum for emergency medicine. Apparently you guys have never considered that someone might need to set a broken bone without a medical scanner. Why would we? Vexthul stopped. Because technology fails. Now you're getting it. This is gonna be fun. As she left, Vexthul looked down at his malformed practice blade and then at the other bones waiting to be carved. After a moment, he picked up his carving tool and went back to work. Across the galaxy, 17 species were doing the same,